Good afternoon. Do me a favor. Look at the person you're sitting next to. Look him in the eye. Look him in the eye. And tell him after last night's party, you look marvelous. Simply marvelous. Somebody said, I look marvelous and I feel marvelous. What's so amazing about the work that you do in understanding how to be future ready is the future is created in the present. When you arrive into the future, you call it today, but everything that you have done yesterday meets you in the future and says, welcome, we've been waiting for you. And I believe the work that you as teachers, principals, superintendents, all of you that are involved with NAF, can you just give yourselves a hand? Give yourselves a hand for doing an amazing job. Thank you for what you do for students, because I believe sometimes students just need an opportunity to understand how can they release their brilliance. For the last decade, I've been traveling the world teaching organizations and individuals about brilliance. And when I first started writing and talking about brilliance, I based it on some of the research work of Dr. Howard Gardner, professor of education at Harvard. Dr. Gardner, he and his team of researchers did an interesting study over a 20-plus year period, and what they discovered is that children up until the age of 4 are operating at the genius level. The same group of children were studied in their early 20s, and only 10% were still operating at the genius, or what I call brilliance level. And in their late 20s, early 30s, only 2% were still operating at the genius or brilliance level. So the question that you have, like I had, oh, brilliant one, you do know that you're sitting next to oh, brilliant one, right? Just look at your neighbor and say, good afternoon, oh, brilliant one. Somebody said, I'm glad you finally recognize. You may be slow, but they're worth waiting on. So the question you have, like I had, is where did this genius or brilliance go? It didn't go anywhere, but it became buried by a society that says color within the lines, sit down, give it back, you can't do this. And the more a person continues to hear what they can't do, where they can't go, and who they can't become, there is a neurological path that is created in the brain that causes individuals to shut down. So what happens is people have this potential, this insight, this genius. They want to literally be future ready, but what I've discovered after working with 1,000 organizations on 6 continents is that brilliance is released and ignited in an environment where people are celebrated rather than tolerated. And the power of what NAF does, NAF creates an environment where all of you as students understand how you can leave an imprint, not just make an impression. So I believe as we think about how do we now power up our network, it really starts with how are we going to see differently and how are we going to take it to a whole nother level. Everybody raise your right hand, please. Raise your right hand. And on 3, I want you to say, take it to another level. I want to see some neck action moving. I want to see some little chutzpah. I want you to step into it and roll. On 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, high five your neighbor, make sure they're awake with the program. So often I am asked the question, how did I start my journey? Well, a number of years ago, I was working at the happiest place on earth, right down the street, and I received a call from a journalist, and at the time, I was the sales director and new business development director for the Disney Institute. And the journalist said to me, Simon, where do you see yourself 10 to 15 years from now? And I said, I see myself as the president and CEO of the Walt Disney World Resort, and eventually the chairman and CEO of the Walt Disney Company. Needless to say, he puts this in print. This is not digital Botox. So the article comes out, my boss calls me in the office and says, what were you thinking when you did this interview? And I said, Larry, I work at this company whose motto is, if your heart is in your dreams, no request is too extreme, for when you wish upon a star, it makes no difference who you are. But obviously it does here. It is funny today, it was not funny then. HR showed up a couple hours later. They said, would you please sign right here? I was sure enough seeing differently, right? But here's the point. Here's the point why I share this story. Disney's an amazing organization. I stayed there for about another year, but a year later, I heard the footsteps coming. They were not singing, It's a Small World after all. But I left on good terms, and what I really learned about Disney is Disney had the ability to see differently. Now, in a moment, I'm going to immerse us into an exercise to really help begin to, what I would say, fuse together everything that we have learned over the last 3 days. I know that in the block learning sessions, you were taking notes, you were using the app, and there's a lot of stored right here. But what I'd like for you to do is really come down to what is that one thing or two things that you intend to do. Let me tell you why this is important. In all of our research and writing around brilliance, what we discovered, the secret to sustaining everything that you've learned is hidden in the daily routine. A lot of times people come to sessions and organizations and businesses, they're like, woohoo, this is awesome. But the reality is, if they don't move it, and unlock their inner Madagascar, so that'll hit some of you later on, and get to it, then it was great. So here's what I'd like for you to do, oh brilliant one. As they bring the lights up, I would like for you to find someone to pair off with at your table. And I'd like for you to answer this question. If you believe in the Socratic method of learning, the answer is in the question. And the question is, what has been your biggest takeaway for the last few days here at NAF that really resonates with you, and what are you going to do about it? I was with Microsoft not too long ago, and the executive at Microsoft said, Simon, here at Microsoft, we teach what's the go-do. So what's the go-do? What's that big thing that you've taken away from your time together? All right, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds, then we're going to come back together, and then we're going to have a little fun, all right? So go, 30 seconds, what'd you learn? Ten seconds. Okay, let's come back together. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you hear my voice, clap twice. Okay, now that's awesome. We're going to take a step further, and something that my instructional designer came up with not too long ago. We came up with this whole concept called Teach Back. And Teach Back is really about what am I going to take the wheel and take it to another level, but more importantly, how do I connect with other brilliant men and women and share what I learned, but also hear what they learn. So when I share it once, I learn it twice because we're learning through each other's lens, okay? And if you realize the word education comes from a word called educare. Educare is not about putting in, it's about drawing out. So in a moment, I'm going to invite you, oh brilliant ones, to stand and find 3 people. Now this is going to be organized chaos. I want you to find the first person that is not sitting at your table, but perhaps in your vicinity, and I want to invite you to share with them, since being here at NAF over the last 72 hours, what has been your big takeaway? They're going to share, you're going to share. Then I'm going to say switch, and you go to the next person. So you find the second person, do the same thing. And then I'll say switch, and you find the third person. So at least on 3 different occasions in the Teach Back, they're going to learn, you're going to learn, and we're going to discover the power of how to take it to another level. Everybody got it? On 3, everybody up. 1, 2, 3. Find your first person. Find the first person. Everybody find somebody. There's no handheld.
A what?
Where's the handheld
Oh,
mic?
handheld.
Ten seconds. Okay, switch. Switch. Find the next person. Find the next person. Everybody finding somebody.
Find anybody, so it's you.
Hi, how are you?
Kylie Harris.
Good,
I'm
what'd you
from
learn?
North Carolina.
Awesome, what'd you learn?
My biggest takeaway right now is we are one of the new Lenovo Network App Challenge, and I'm a world history teacher and a site coordinator. But when I looked at that, I've already created 3 apps in the training we did this morning. When I look at our 9th and 10th graders until they're ready for deeper coding, this is going to be so empowering to them and make them feel like they can do it.
Wow.
For me to not know any of that, thinking about the people who are thinking coding is too whatever.
That's good.
I'm really excited about it.
In a moment, I'm gonna have volunteers come up on the stage. I'd love for you to come up after this third one. You gotta share that. I'm gonna have about 5 or 6 people come up, okay? All right. Okay, switch. Switch. Find the third person. Find the third person. Okay, if you can hear my voice, clap once. Hear my voice, clap twice. As you return to your seats, I need 3 volunteers on the stage with me. 3 volunteers that'll come on up and share what they learned. 3 volunteers, come on down. Real quick, 3 volunteers, come on. I'll take more, come on. Come on, awesome, awesome, awesome. Very nice, awesome, come on up. Come on up. Awesome. All right, let's line up all the way across. All the way across. Okay. If you can hear my voice, clap once. Hear my voice, clap twice. In a moment, I am going to ask them what did they hear, what did they take away, what did they learn. So they're going to introduce themselves to us. They're going to tell us where they're from and their biggest takeaway, all right? And then at the end, after each one shares, I'm going to introduce you to the NAF celebratory clap. So let's practice it on 3. Clap once. 1, 2, 3. Booyah! Okay. Who's our first person?
All right, Julian. All right, my name is Julian Singleton. I'm from Baton Rouge. I teach at Scotlandville. That's the group right there. If y'all think that right now, okay. The one thing that I've seen is the unity that the program have. It's not just based on engineering. It has so many different variety from technology, from healthcare, and that's what I really it stood out to me. And another thing is the app program. Never heard of it before until I got here.
Wow.
And that's something definitely I can't wait, to let the students know.
Awesome. And when are you going to let the students know?
Hopefully in August.
All right.
Somewhere around August.
All right.
So.
Awesome. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. All right. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica T. Williams. I work for Orange County Public Schools. And I am district level support for all things NAF. My individual takeaway is about being selective about advisory board selection, quality over quantity. And the biggest thing that I heard as I collaborated with my friends today was the importance of celebrating success with the students. And in our district, we're all about telling that story, so we're going to work on doing a better job of telling our story.
Awesome. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me add a little color commentary to the whole point around advisory boards. 30 years ago, a number of people went to work and they settled for a chair, a check, and a cup of coffee in Cubicle Farm and woke up 30 years later and said, this doesn't quite work for me. And so in order to re-engage them, the organization said, we're going to send you out to connect with a school, connect with an organization that's doing something. And what has happened is they're like, oh my goodness, I want to get on an advisory board because they are rediscovering purpose. All right, so a book that I want you to get a hold of that is really waking up a lot of corporations and businesses, especially as you look forward to increasing your corporate partnerships. And the book is called Firms of Endearment, Firms of Endearment, written by 3 Babson College professors. And the central thesis of their work says organizations that put purpose before profit will become more profitable. So in other words, NAF, they are looking for you. Let me say it to you a different way. What you want wants you. How many are going to go back to your community and say, we're going to look at our advisory board, and there are some people on the advisory board that you need to invite them to find their happiness elsewhere so that they can make room. Hello, somebody. I live here. I can get home. It's all good, right? Somebody say, I can't believe he went there. Yes, I did. Because you have to make room for the Robs of the world with Lenovo that have a brilliant passion to want to serve. Yes? All right.
Hello, my name is Marcus Lincoln. I'm from Detroit. You guys are welcome to come visit anytime. Originally, my takeaway was that I need to find a way to integrate this with the 30 students within my classroom for my IB classroom. Then after speaking with a gentleman from NAF from Boston, he realized that I need to not only integrate it with them, I need to get integrated with the 450 high schoolers in my classroom and the 30,000 students within the city of Detroit.
Wow.
That I need to walk out and speak with my local establishment, like my congressman, and try to get a push to change education the way it goes in the city of Detroit, to take a bigger stance.
Awesomeness on 3. 1, 2, 3. Booyah.
Hi, my name is Yave. I'm here from Orlando, Florida. Thank you. I'm an intern from Cypress Creek High School. I was at the help desk. So I guess my biggest takeaway from this was, how many people, they need help to learn the technology that they're dealing with every day. You know, how we're here to help you guys, learn how to use your cell phones, your computers, your tablets, and everything. So,
How does it work?
Yeah. So basically, we're like your guys' teachers. Yeah, but this was a really rewarding experience, though. It's definitely something I could take away, and I could tell to my friends and my family. I'm just really thankful that I was here. So I want to thank everybody, and NAF especially, and Angelo.
Nice. All right, awesome.
My name is Holly Harris. I'm from Coxmore High School in Cabarrus County. We're the Academy of Information Technology. Our big takeaway from today was that we have just recently been added into the Lenovo App Challenge. And so this morning, I'm a world history teacher, site coordinator, and I've already created 2 apps this morning. So what I'm very excited about is we have doubled our academy size. We have 100 kids coming in our freshman class, and I'm so excited to take this back to them because 9th and 10th graders, their level of coding may not be what it will be by their 11th and 12th grade year, but this is the hook. This is what's going to get them excited and empowered. I'm ready to go back and keep playing, and I'm ready to go back and keep making more apps. So,
Wow.
Very excited.
Awesome. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Very nice.
How you guys doing tonight? This is Elvin speaking from Cypress Creek High School. I'm originally from Philadelphia, but I moved here to Orlando about 2 years ago, so we're locals. I'd first like to give a shout out to NAF and to our instructor, Angela, and to my team for helping you guys out. It was our pleasure, and we're glad that you guys were satisfied with our work. First off, I'd just like to say that coming here, I really learned that age groups, there's no difference in between anyone. You can learn a lot from everyone. We were showing everybody else how to use things that we already learned, and I got I got moralistic. Enhancements from learning from old people. But but on a more serious
Gee,
note,
thanks.
but on a more serious note, I want to speak out to all the adolescents in this ballroom right now. Don't ever put a cap on your abilities, and don't ever think that you can't do anything, because I came in here 4 days ago, and I had the mentality for a couple months that I wanted to be a nurse. Little did I know that just going to a presentation about accounting and about engineering, that made me feel like I can do way more than I think that I'm capable of. So don't ever put a cap on your dreams.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. So because you were brave to come up, I'm going to give you my business card, and I want you to send me an email, and you're going to receive an autographed copy of my book, Shift Your Brilliance, as a thank you for coming up. Give them a hand as they go back to their seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to do something with me really quickly. Please take out your mobile phones and go to Twitter, and I want you to use the conference hashtag #BeFutureReady, and I would just like for you to tweet out what was your big takeaway. If it's repeatable and memorable, it's tweetable, all right? So take a moment and just share it with the virtual world, because I believe that you are all leaders in this room. And the one thing I walked away after leaving the Mouse House that has stayed with me, and after working with 1,000 organizations on 6 continents, I want to really just leave you with these thoughts as to, so what should we do from beyond today? And probably the most important one I want you to consider is, how do we stay connected beyond this year's NAF? How do we intentionally look for ways to engage the brilliance in the room? So even as you tweet out that big takeaway, I want you to think about, we are now in the connection economy, according to Seth Godin. And in the connection economy, it's not so much about what we can get, especially of those of you who are looking to create more corporate partnerships in your community, but it's about what we can give. And how do you begin to find the Robs of the world and the incredible work that they're doing at Lenovo to say, you know what, there is a Rob in our community. How do we engage them? And I believe it starts with the power of connection. A number of years ago, a man was having a reoccurring dream of a ferocious lion chasing him. And whenever he would have this dream, he would take off running. And one day he went to see a counselor, and the counselor said, the next time you have the dream, I want you to stop, face the lion, look the lion in the eye, and ask the lion, who are you? Why are you chasing me? So sure enough, a couple of weeks goes by, and he has this reoccurring dream of the ferocious lion chasing him, Paul, so he takes off running. But then it dawns on him what the counselor says, so he stops, turns around, faces the lion, looks the lion in the eye, and asks the lion, who are you? Why are you chasing me? And the lion said, I am your strength and courage. Why are you running from me? I don't know where you will be this time next year, but I'm inviting you, oh brilliant one, to turn and face the lion and power up your network for who you will become in the process. I am Simon T. Bailey, and I approve this message.